Don't start collecting Pokemon cards in 2025 unless you understand how to actually collect. There are so many new scams, overpriced products, and a billion ways for you to lose your hard-earned money that it would just be an absolute disaster and you would not enjoy the hobby unless you watch this video. If you're new here, I'm Chris, and I just recently got back into Pokemon cards after 25 years of being absent. And a lot has changed since I've returned to the hobby. I had no idea what an ETB was, and I definitely would have fallen for a fake Pokemon card because the artwork has totally changed since the early 2000s. And I seriously thought reverse holos were something cool, even though they're basically just commons at this point. I've learned a ton since I've started collecting Pokemon cards again, and in this video, I'm going to tell you everything I wish I knew before I started back. So whether you're brand new to the hobby, trying to chase that nostalgia from the 90s, or maybe your kid is getting into the hobby themselves, this video will help you collect smarter, save a ton of money, and avoid a lot of headache up front. All right, before you buy your first pack or click add to cart for that new ETB, there is one question you really need to ask yourself. What kind of collector am I? Because the truth is, there is no wrong or right way to collect cards. Some people are just chasing that childhood nostalgia. Some people want to play the actual TCG. And some people just like to look at the cards for their really unique and cool artwork. And all of that is okay. Everybody can have their own special way of collecting. But it is important to know what kind of collector you are before you actually spend any money. So take a moment to think about why. Why am I in this hobby? What is going to keep me interested and engaged 3 months from now? Am I going to get burnt out spending so much money on Pokemon cards? I don't know. Now at this point, you might be thinking to yourself, what kind of collectors are there? There are many kind of collectors. Here are a few different kinds of collectors that you might be, or maybe you want to be. First, you have the master set collector. Now these people are trying to collect every single card in a particular set. Recently, Journey Together was just released, and if you were a master set collector wanting to complete Journey Together, you would have to collect every single card in the list. And that includes reverse holos, normal holos, and just plain Jane cards. This kind of set collecting is kind of a grind, but it is very satisfying whenever you finish a binder. The next kind of collector is a grail hunter. This is something that will take patience and strategic planning, because what you're really doing is you have that one card that you absolutely have fallen in love with. Maybe it's multiple cards, but you want to collect that one card. For me, it's this Mimikyu card. I just recently found it and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. But it's not something that I'm just going to outright pay the full money for because it's a lot of money. So maybe I'll try and trade up to it eventually. Through packs that I've opened, I might grab various cards. So I might try and trade up to it. But the Grail card is a card that's just a little out of reach and hard to get your hands on. And that's why it's like the Holy Grail. The next type of collector are artist collectors. Now, there are a ton of artists that have taken the time to painstakingly illustrate and create these beautiful artworks that we see on these pieces of cardboard. You might find a particular artwork that you have taken a fancy to. And so you can see on the card, there is the artist. And so you can look up to see what other cards they have illustrated or drawn or whatever. And so you can chase that particular artist. For me, I really love this Whale Lord, and I've taken a liking to a lot of the artwork, so I'm kind of chasing this one now. Another kind of collector that you may want to be is a sealed product collector. Now this collector is going to try and buy any product that they can that looks cool or is unique. ETBs are a common product that people try to collect and keep sealed because they have really cool artwork and they look good and they stack and they're just really presentable. So you may want to be a product collector. The most common type of collector is someone who is trying to collect all of one particular Pokemon. For me, it's Mimikyu. And this can be fun, but very challenging, depending on which Pokemon you actually really like. If you're trying to collect Charizard, unless you have a lot of money, it's most likely not going to happen. The same with Pikachu. There's tons of cards out there with both of these Pokemon. So if you want to try and collect all of one Pokemon, just try and find something that's maybe a little less common and doesn't have as many cards to start out with, or else you will get burned out. There is a video by Deep Monster where he collects all of the different Gengars in the English sets, and that is a good starting point for you to see what it actually looks like to collect all of one Pokemon. In that video, he only collects English Pokemon, but there are also Japanese cards. There are Chinese cards, Korean cards. There's various cards in different languages. So you maybe want to collect a particular Pokemon or a particular artwork in that particular language. As you can see, there are so many different ways that you can start collecting Pokemon cards and determining what kind of collector you are. There's a particular reason why it's important to know what kind of Pokemon collector you are, because this hobby costs money. It costs time and it costs effort. So if you don't have a strategy in the way that you collect, you're going to end up just wasting tons of money. So take the time before you go out and buy a pack. Think about the collecting personality that you think you will be. And once you've got a sense of it, let's talk about budgeting and strategy so this hobby doesn't eat your wallet alive. Now that you've figured out what kind of collector you want to be, let's talk about the part that nobody wants to talk about: your wallet. Pokemon is a very expensive hobby in the long run, and if you have no strategy or idea of where you're putting your money, you can lose a lot. And I'm talking about, wait, where did my paycheck go kind of lot. There are stories of people who have lost thousands because they just keep chasing that one card, ripping packs, which statistically is not the wisest way to chase a particular card. You will lose a lot of money, I'm telling you. The best thing that you can do is set a budget before you start buying. Ask yourself, what amount of money am I willing to spend on this hobby? Am I willing to spend X amount this week or this month? Try and make some kind of strategy. Remember that this is, in fact, a hobby. Yes, there is an investment side of it, but you are not doing that right now. Remember not to throw responsibility out the window for pieces of cardboard. And I cannot stress this enough. Ripping packs chasing a particular item that you want is going to be one of the worst ways you can spend your money. Yes, we all love opening Pokemon cards. We love opening that pack and enjoying the feeling that you get when there's a discovery. But if you're going to chase a particular card, this is why it's important to understand what kind of collector you're going to be. If you're going to chase a particular card, it's definitely better to buy a single than keep ripping packs. Going back to trying to decide what kind of collector you want to be, this helps you set a goal. Am I trying to complete a master set? Am I trying to complete a binder? This allows you to keep your eyes focused, keep you tunnel vision so you don't get out there, you don't get distracted by FOMO, you don't lose a lot of money. Try and stay in a particular niche within the hobby, and that way you can manage your money responsibly and not just blow it. When you set a goal for yourself, it's a lot easier to actually enjoy what you're doing and what you're collecting rather than figuring out, oh, should I buy this FOMO thing or this or that? If you already have an idea, a particular plan of what cards you want, you won't be distracted by all the FOMO and the noise. And there is a lot of it out on the internet. People are trying to get you to buy every single Pokemon product. And don't fall for it. If you have a goal, you can ignore the things that other people are wasting their money on. Also, remember to pace yourself. You're just starting in this hobby. You're not going to catch up very fast to people like Pokerev or Deep Monster or anybody that's even been in this hobby for a year. You have to really pace yourself because you don't have the same money resources as them. But the average person is somebody who works a 9-to-5 job and is just trying to enjoy this hobby a little bit. It's fun to watch your collection steadily build over the years. You can look back and see where you started to where you are now. It is much more satisfying than just all of a sudden exploding because you didn't even get to enjoy the things that you had. So now that you've decided your budget, you've set a goal, it's time to really think about, do I want to rip packs or not? To rip or not to rip? That is the question. That is the question that every single new collector has to struggle with. As a matter of fact, it's a question that even advanced collectors have to struggle with because ripping packs is so fun. You never know what you're going to get in there. One pack could have the most rare Umbreon out there, but here's the catch. Most packs will just have normal holos, normal rares, normal garbage that you're not even looking for, and you've just wasted money for it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, But really, there's no right answer here as far as should you rip packs. If it's a thing that brought you into Pokemon, that's what you want to do, that's fine. But be careful with your money because it can add up pretty quickly. So let's be honest. Ripping packs is super fun. There's the thrill, there's the mystery. You never know what you're going to get. But here's the reality. If you're chasing a specific card, you're most likely not going to get it. You're better off just gambling at your local gas station with a lottery ticket. Don't do that though. Really, you might rip $100 worth of packs and then just come away with a $5 alt art. Or you could hit that chase card and come away with a card that's worth, multiple $1,000s if it's graded in 10. But the reality is that's least likely. So it's fun to get that hit, but do not waste your money over it. Remember, keep budgeting it. When it comes to ripping packs, it's also very important to understand what kind of products you're actually getting into. There are so many products in Pokemon right now. First up, you've got the normal booster pack. This is just one single pack that has 10 cards in it, plus a code card so that you can play, so you can collect cards online. These are great for quick hits, impulse buys, or if you just want to buy a quick present for a fellow Pokemon hunter. But they are usually the worst price per card that you're going to find. Next up, you have the 3-pack blisters. These usually come with 3 packs, as in the name, and 1 coin and maybe a couple of promo cards. These are actually pretty good for beginners because they allow you to get multiple packs, a promo card, and coin, just various products so that you can kind of start feeling out what kind of collector do you want to be. But they're also decently good for the value. Next up, you have the booster bundles. Now, this is one of the best values per pack, per card that you're going to find out there, if you can actually find them. But they're usually like $25 or so, and you get 6 packs, which is pretty good. Next up is my personal favorite. It's the ETBs, Elite Trainer Boxes. These things look really cool. They act as a card holder whenever you open your packs, and they can hold all of your extras. But they come with sleeves for your decks. They come with various products for the TCG itself. You've got coins, you've got counters, you've got dice. They come with dividers, so you can divide up your cards however you want to collect them. And they come with between 9 and 11 packs depending on the set. They are the perfect starter thing for anybody that's wanting to get into Pokemon. Unfortunately, they are harder to come by, so if you see one in store, I would encourage you to grab one if Pokemon cards are something that you actually want to get in, because they will help you see multiple ways of collecting. A lot of the newer ones also come with promo cards that are usually a full art, and while they're also really good to look at, it can give you this sense of, okay, these are the kinds of cards that I actually want to collect. So they're a great place to start. There are also booster boxes that come with like 36 packs, but you can only buy those online. You're not going to find those at your local store. And unless you know for sure that it's a set that you want to spend that much money on, I wouldn't advise you getting a booster box. But they are still a great value down the line if you know you're trying to do a master set of Journey Together. Get a Journey Together booster box if you can find one for a decent price. And that will give you a huge bulk of the cards that you're trying to collect for your master set. But they are something for a little more advanced collectors, something for you to keep in the back of your mind so that you can look at down the line. So here are a couple of tips on what to buy depending on what kind of collector you've decided to be. If you are trying to build a binder or a master set, booster bundles and single packs are going to be your best friend, at least starting out, because they're going to give you a bulk of whatever set you're trying to collect. If you're wanting to create a nice display for your friends and family to see in your house or your game room or whatever it is, ETBs are a really cool product to get because they look nice on a shelf and they also double as a card storage thing. If you're interested in value over time, consider buying something that is going to stay sealed. Now, it can be really tempting to open these up because you want to see what's in the packs. Believe me, I know, it's very tempting. But if you want a long play, if you want a long game, keep it sealed, keep it in a nice place where it's going to be protected, and have fun with it. If you decided to collect a specific type of card, whether it be art, Pokemon, or language, I would highly encourage you to not specifically buy packs chasing those cards, I would go to your local card shop and buy singles. You can easily find a card that you're looking for, a particular Pokemon, a artwork, whatever. You can find them at multiple card shops and buy them at a better price than if you were just chasing it opening packs. There are some cards out there that maybe are only worth $3, but you may spend $200 ripping packs trying to find that one card. So just be smart with it. So to answer the question, should you rip packs? Sure, a couple. They're fun. I still rip packs. They're a lot of fun to do. But if you know what kind of collector you are, stay away from ripping packs and buy singles. You can be a really smart collector, especially if you start out smart. It's a lot easier to maintain that through the entirety of your collecting experience. Speaking of smart collecting, let's talk about what's actually on these pieces of cardboard that you're collecting. These things have so many symbols, so many words, so many different things to be looking out for, and they can be very overwhelming for a beginner. Believe me, I know, a lot has changed. So you've opened up a few packs and you've got a pile of cards in your lap and you're just looking at these shiny pieces of cardboard and trying to determine, what even am I looking at? What is this shiny thing that I'm looking at? What is this star down in the corner? What does it all mean?
Whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean, Basil?
Let's do a super quick crash course so you don't get super excited over something that's worthless, or so you don't throw away something that is worth something. Don't be that guy. I was that guy. So here's a quick breakdown of what to look at on these cards and what they all mean. On the bottom left corner of your card, you're going to see multiple symbols and letters, and they can be very confusing at first. But real quick, if you're looking, you can see a common symbol that is represented by a black circle, a diamond symbol that is an uncommon symbol that is represented by a black diamond, and a rare symbol that is represented by a star. This is where you'll see all the rarities of your cards, and they get more advanced with more of the symbols. Sometimes you have multiple stars, sometimes they're gold, sometimes one says promo. There are various rarities, and we'll get into that in another video. Next to the rarity symbols, you're going to see the set symbol. In the old, before Scarlet and Violet, the symbols were very unique, but they were very hard to determine what the actual set was, especially as more and more sets came out. They were hard to distinguish and hard to tell. Since Scarlet and Violet came out, they have changed to little abbreviations. For example, there is MEW, which is standing for the Pokemon 151. There is SSP, which is Surging Sparks. They're a little more intuitive once you start learning the different sets. You can see the symbol or the abbreviation and know almost immediately what set this card that you're looking at is actually from. I mentioned earlier there is a star at the bottom left corner. Sometimes it has promo written in it. We call those a black star promo. Now that's usually a card that it can't come from a set. Each generation has a black star promo set, if you will, but you can't buy them all together. They come in collection boxes, ETBs, or special boxes. They're special promotional cards that have been either handed out at special events or in special boxes. You may come across a couple of cards that have holographic foil on them. Sometimes they're on the artwork, and sometimes they're on the border of the card. If it's on artwork, then that is a normal holo. That is something that has been around since the very beginning of this hobby. But they've now added, since I've been in, it's something new for me anyways, they've added reverse holos. And that means that the card itself is holographic, but not the artwork. Another type of card that they've added, they've actually been around for a while, but it's totally new to those who have not been in the hobby since the early 2000s. They have full art cards, illustration rares, alt art cards. These cards are super unique, and you'll know one when you see one. They're beautiful. The whole card is a piece of artwork, and sometimes they're textured. These are usually the chase cards of sets. If you see one of these, hold on to it. You may be able to trade up for something that you're looking for, or it may end up being worth something down the line. Something that takes getting used to if you're coming back to the hobby after a very long time is just because it's shiny definitely does not mean it's rare. In the base set and the original sets of Pokemon cards, if it was holographic, it was usually something very worth trying to get your hands on. It was rare, it was nice to see. but now there's basically a holo in every pack, and they're almost as common as common cards. Now this has barely scratched the surface of what we're looking at on the cards, but it should be a good place for you to start. For now, just remember, check your symbols, check your sets. Don't assume that shiny cards are super rare, but really do keep anything as cool. That's actually part of the fun of the hobby. If a card makes you happy, keep it. That could be part of your collection. Now it's time to talk about one of the most important aspects of collecting Pokemon cards. So you just pulled something really cool and you set it on your desk, come back a couple of days later, and it just looks like absolute garbage. That's because you probably didn't protect your card properly. This might sound dramatic, but the truth is, if you're not protecting your cards, you're not really collecting. You're basically hoarding cardboard and hoping for the best. Let's talk about your basic protection kit and when is it best to use each piece of the protection. First up, you have penny sleeves. These are thin, flexible pieces of plastic that you can set your card in and really help protect it. If you ever find a card that you absolutely love, like I do with Mimikyu, immediately sleeve it. These penny sleeves are basically pennies. They're really cheap to get, and they are an invaluable piece to your collection kit. For cards that you want extra protection on, you want these top loaders. These are rigid plastic that are pretty hard, and they're great for your special cards like your Grail cards or just the cards that you love. They add a little extra protection than just the penny sleeves. But it's important to remember, never put a card in one of these without the card already being in a penny sleeve, or else it'll get scratched up. But this is a great way for you to protect a lot of your cards. Now, I don't have one with me, but another type of card protector that a lot of people recommend, especially if you're going to send into grading, are the semi-rigid card protectors. They're very similar to these ones, but they're a little less rigid, hence the name semi-rigid. And they help. They're a lot easier to get in the card in and out of. These are a little harder, but if you know you're going to keep it in for a long time, these are great. But if you're going to be pulling it in and out, I would definitely go with a semi-rigid. Or if you're going to be sending it into like PSA or CGC or whatever to get graded, then you need to put it in a semi-rigid. But remember, always keep it in a penny sleeve. Now, the next most important thing that you need to have in your collection kit or your protection kit are binders. Now, this is a cheap binder that you can find at Walmart, I think for like $20. I think I've seen them for, but they're a great way for you to keep your cards. Once again, always have your cards in penny sleeves, but you can just stick your cards in here. They're great for display. It keeps them protected, and they're fun to flip through so you can see what kind of collection you have. Mine's still growing, as you can see. I have a lot more to actually put in this binder. I just haven't done it yet. But they are in the rigid top loaders, so don't worry. If you can, stay away from the old school D-ring binders. We all had those as a kid, where you'd have the page on a D-ring. The problem with that, as it builds up, these D-rings can really damage the cards that are on the inside. And they were also all top loaded here, and if you turn it upside down or anything, the cards would fall out. But with this kind of binder, the pages are already sewn into the seam, so there's nothing that can damage the card right here. But they're also side loaders, so that they're not going to just fall out when you flip this thing around. And they're really nice and snug in there. Once again, please remember penny sleeves. Now, the more packs you open, the more you're going to get bulk cards that you don't really care that much about, but you don't want to throw away. And this is where you need to get some kind of card storage box. Now, the other thing that works great are ETBs. They double as a storage box. Once you open this thing up, you can see right here, it's just a box, and it's like the perfect size for a card, or multiple cards, really. I would highly recommend for your bulk to get some kind of storage box. If you don't have an ETB, you can get cheap storage boxes from Amazon. You don't have to put penny sleeves over all your bulk cards, just mainly the ones that you care the most about or the ones that will be valuable. A couple of pro tips: keep your binder and your cards out of the sunlight. Sunlight can really damage your cards, even in just a short amount of time. They can really make them fade, so you really don't want to put your favorite cards in direct sunlight, which is something that is hard for us because we want to put them on display. But even if you have them on display on your desk, if the sun goes by it could really damage the card over time, and it makes the value go down. Also, if you have storage boxes or any other thing, careful the way you stack them. You don't want to stack binders on top of each other. It's better to have them upright in a book style thing than to stack on top of each other, because that adds a lot of weight on the cards, and that's not good for them. For cards like your bulk that you're not going to really see that much, but you want to make sure that they don't get damaged by humidity or things like that, think about adding those little silica packs that always come in your shoe boxes or whatever. You find them in products all the time. Remember not to eat them though. But you can put your silica packs in there, and that will help soak up any humidity that could potentially damage your cards. Now that you know how to protect your cards, let me tell you how to protect your wallet from potential scams. Collecting Pokemon cards in 2025 is absolutely awesome. I'm sure it was back in the day, and I'm sure it will be in 2026 and down the line. But there are so many scams out there. There are scalpers who are just jacking up prices for the product that they have. And there are so many ways for you to lose money in this hobby if you're not careful. Fake cards are probably one of the biggest ways that you can get scammed. People have gotten really good at making those stickers that they can just paste over a normal card, like some random common. They can make it look like a super rare card. But the more you handle real cards, the more you will actually be able to spot a fake. It's kind of like that thing where they say the FBI, they don't show them all these different fake $20 bills. They give them just one $20 bill that they have to become really acquainted with, and then they can easily spot a fake. The idea here is if you know the real thing so well, to spot a fake is pretty easy to do. And sometimes the fakes are pretty sloppy. It can be maybe it's just a typo, or it's a scratch that's in a weird place, or the artwork looks real weird, or maybe it's too thin, the cardstock's not right. The more you handle the real cards, the more likely you're going to be able to spot a fake. So if you're unsure about fake cards, try not to buy them from too many third-party places like eBay or Temu or anything like that. If a deal seems too good to be true, in Pokemon, it probably is. The other type of scam you really have to look out for are mystery boxes and mystery packs. These promise some kind of grand item, whether it be a rare pack or a rare card, but they market it in a way that is kind of misleading. There are some packs that are like 25 cards in one, and they're one holo in there. But as we went over earlier, not every holo is actually worth anything. So really, it's just a bunch of people's bulk that they're putting and selling to you. And there are also some mystery boxes that come with mystery packs. Now, this can be good. There can be some good cards in there. And sometimes, especially when the hobby is really hot and it's hard to find any product, it's nice to just be able to find a pack. Some of these mystery boxes, while still a little scammy, they can be all right. But as a beginner, I would really focus on the products that you know for sure from the Pokemon company. And if it's a mystery box or a mystery pack, it most likely did not come from them. It's from some third-party person trying to resell their cards and packs. This year, the hype for this hobby has just grown exponentially. And there are so many products that are just way overpriced. And the problem is, because scalpers have been getting all the product that they can, either from the Pokemon Center online when something drops, or from Target or Walmart, they collect all the things and then resell at a very high price. And it makes it really hard for the average collector to be able to afford it, because MSRP, which is the average price that a market should be selling it, so like what you see at Walmart or Target, the actual price, MSRP for an ETB, for example, may be like $55. But these scalpers have come in and bought up all the items that they possibly can in one fell swoop. And they're able to then sell it for twice, triple, even sometimes quadruple the MSRP price. So they're selling these things for like $200. And it's really hard on the hobby. Thankfully, it seems like Pokemon Center is starting to really rein it in with at least the pre-orders on their website. So that's good, and hopefully that will help scalpers or make scalpers start to calm down a little bit, and you'll be able to see product again on the shelves a lot more. But be very careful if you're buying product from a third-party source. It is okay to buy from eBay or Facebook Marketplace or things like that, but just be aware of what the actual price should be and how much of a markup they're selling. Don't get scammed. Don't fall for the FOMO trap. This is where scammers and scalpers kind of work together in a way. They create all this FOMO around a product and they sell it for 3 times the actual price. And you or I buy it and we're out of money for something that's really not worth that much. This again goes back to making sure you have a goal for what you're trying to do in your collection. Now, let me tell you something that completely changed the game for me as a collector. You don't have to do this alone. This is a game, it is a system that is meant to be done with other people who enjoy this hobby just as much as you do. And as a matter of fact, it's not just a hobby. It really is a community. It's a community of people that have gathered around this cardboard product and are able to make friends. They're able to share with family. It's a really great place to learn and to meet new people. So I would highly encourage you to join a community. Sometimes if you're an introvert, this may be as simple as joining a Discord of a well-known PokeTuber. It may be as simple as just leaving comments on videos or going on Reddit. If you're a little more extroverted and you want to actually meet some people in person, then I would encourage you to go to your local card shop. Local card shops are a great place to learn about the hobby and meet new people because they typically host trade nights, game nights, or people just sometimes just hang out at the card shop. So it's a great place to learn and meet new people. Along with this, it's important to remember that the Pokemon TCG is a trading card game. And in order to trade, you actually have to get in front of other people, talk to them, negotiate, have fun, and trade your card for their card. And the best place to do that is at your local card shop. It used to be all the time on the playground when we were kids, and maybe you're a kid watching this and it's still a great place to play, as long as the teachers are cool with it. But go to your local card shop, meet the people who are steeped in this hobby. Some will be new, some will be old and experienced, and it's just a wonderful place for you to learn and continue to grow your collection. Speaking of trading, this is one of the best ways for you to grow your own collection. Everybody needs something, and you probably have something that somebody needs. And this creates the perfect opportunity for a trade. Sometimes you can even trade lower priced cards for a higher priced card just because everybody has their own intrinsic value that they've placed on cards beyond what the money is. Some people are collecting cards not for their monetary value, but for the sentiment that comes along with it. And you can't put a price on that for some people. And so you may be able to make a really good trade that benefits you in your own binder or your own collection. And quite honestly, it is one of the most satisfying ways to get something that you want to trade, because it's very simple to go out and buy something if you have the money. But to trade, you put in that work, you've developed a relationship with somebody, and you've interacted in the world of, well, the real world and Pokemon. And it's a great way to develop relationships. If you're making a trade and you're unsure, just pull up TCG or TCG Player and see what the value is of your card and their card, just so you make sure that you're getting a trade that is agreeable between you and the person you're trading with. Really is fun. It sounds intimidating at first, but it is so fun to actually interact with others that love the same things that you do. One of the best things that I can tell you to do is build a trade binder. Have a separate binder from your own personal collection that is specifically just for trades. As you open packs and collect more products, you're going to inevitably get some really nice cards, but they may be cards that you just don't really care about. But just because you don't care about them doesn't mean that other people won't. So stick them in your trade binder. Go to your local card shop, go to a trade night, whatever it may be, and bring your binder with you. And so if you see a card that somebody may want, if you see a card that you want that somebody else has, present your trade binder. See if there's anything in your binder that they'd be willing to trade for that card. Okay, take a deep breath. That's a lot of information. You're welcome to go back and rewatch, but take a deep breath. This is a learning process. Collecting isn't about knowing everything right at the start. It is about learning, it's about developing relationships, and it's about having fun. If you're not having fun in this hobby, then you're definitely doing it wrong. That's the only wrong way to collect. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. It's really easy to fall into the trap of trying to collect and build your collection super fast. But the most sustainable and long-term collectors have built their collection slow. They've enjoyed their collection. Enjoy the cards that you have, the ones that you want. Enjoy the artwork. Enjoy the game if you like to play the trading card game. Just enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it? It goes back to the very beginning of this video of asking why. Why do you want to collect? Hopefully, it's so you can have fun. Sometimes it may be to make an investment, but you can still have fun while you're investing in this. I just really encourage you to find a way that you can really enjoy collecting Pokemon cards. I really hope this video has helped you in your collecting journey, and if it did, please hit that like button down below and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, what is your Grail card? What kind of collector are you going to end up being? I'm really interested to see what different types of collectors are out there. For me, I'm a Mimikyu collector. I really like Mimikyu. I think it's a really cool story, his background, I think it's great. And so I really like the Mimikyu cards. Let me know in the comments though, what cards you're trying to collect. What are you most excited about in this? Please remember that this is supposed to be fun, and I really hope that you have fun while doing it.